Coaches, Rick Stewart with All Access Coaching with another webinar. Really excited. I think this is the second webinar we've done now with Joe Austin, college coach out in Texas. He'll do an introduction right now, and we're going to be talking about the Tex-Bone, which is the triple option for the 21st century. Joe, really excited to be joining you. I know you're kind of in a rush. You've got to go show an associate AD around the campus, so we're going to kind of run through this. I think you said something that you're going to cover the passing game on this webinar.
We are. So in our first webinar, we talked about triple option off of power. And now we're going to talk about how we throw passes off the same triple option look.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hey, let's just get rolling.
All right. So, hey, welcome, coaches. This is our second webinar, as Rick mentioned. And tonight what we're going to do is I'm going to give you just a quick review about what the Tex-Bone is. Now, you can go back to the first webinar. You can check out stuff on CoachTube to find out. But if this is your first look at the Tex-Bone, we'll talk a little bit about what that is. I'm going to give you a quick recap of our first webinar, which was a power option run, more specifically, our triple option off of power. And one of the unique things about the Tex-Bone is we're the first option system to focus on power as a primary way to run triple option. Now, of course, we run belly and down and veer and a lot of other ways, but we like to do it out of power. Then tonight, we're going to add on to that first webinar. We're going to talk about our power option pass game. And so we're going to spend a lot of time doing chalk talk. I'm going to go over our protections and techniques. Then we're going to go over route combos, how we read those routes. And then we'll finish this up by looking at some game film of all the different passes that I'm going to show you. So real quickly, the evolution of the Tex-Bone, and you could sum it up as it's how the Flexbone and the spread got married. We put this together at Southwestern University, the Tex-Bone. And my associate head coach here on the left, of course, this is a 10-year-old picture, but that's us about 10 years ago at Hanover College when we started coaching together. And at Southwestern, we got together. He was my defense coordinator for a while, and then we came together on offense, and he was a Flexbone guy, and I was a spread guy. And we began to have separate offenses. So for parts of our games, we'd run spread. Then as a total changeup, we'd run Flexbone. And over time, these things mashed together. And what we found was when we put Flexbone and spread together and kept all the run stuff, it was a really effective way to run triple specifically. And so that worked out really well. And at Southwestern, when we started running the Tex-Bone, we finished as high as second in the NCAA in rushing, as high as ninth in total offense, and we won our conference championship just a few years ago. So again, much more about that available in other Tex-Bone materials. But if this is your first time talking about the Tex-Bone, wanted to give you a little bit of an intro. Here's some of the features. As I said, it's a marriage of triple option and spread. So we still run some straight Flexbone. We still run some straight spread, but we've been able to put triple option and spread formations together for a real dynamic way to do it. It's your traditional option schemes, but non-traditional option alignments. So it's not just Flexbone. We're running from 2x2 open and 3x1 open, and we're running triple option from a lot of different formations. We like this because spread defensive philosophies have predictable alignments. So if you line up in 2x2 open, you know how the defense is going to align to you. If you line up in Flexbone, most of the time you have no idea what you're going to get. So being able to run triple option against defenses where you can predict where the dive key is going to be, where the pitch key is going to be, and who's going to take what, who's going to cover the dive, who's going to cover the quarterback, who's going to cover the pitch, that's an advantage for your players. And something that I've learned that Flexbone coaches have been doing this for years and years and decades, they have to go into games not knowing exactly what they're going to get. We found a way around that. And of course, it's unpredictable to defend because every play could be a spread-based play. It could be an option-based play. It can be a run. It can be a pass. There's lots of different dynamics to this. It's modern advances to time-tested schemes. We're backed up into the shotgun with the pistol running back, and we do all of our triple out of that. So there's lots of things that are kind of a modernization of some traditional option sets. Some of the old school limitations are gone. For example, if you're running Flexbone from under center, on a lot of plays, you have to motion your wing around to get him in position to be the pitchback when the ball snapped. For us, we don't. Being in the shotgun gives you that advantage of not having to motion your pitch player into position. The spread gets free passes because all of the defense's time goes to defending the triple option. So your other elements, the spread elements that you've been running that you want to keep that are really good for you, some zone stuff, some ISO stuff, and we run all those things in the Tex-Bone. Those spread elements, they're not going to get practice during the week that they have to prepare for you. They're working on triple option. And the stop the option defense leads to big plays and play action. We have our conference's record for yards per attempt and yards per completion because we have really effective play action in the Tex-Bone. The runs and passes look identical, and that makes play action plentiful. So again, that's a little bit about what it is. Quickly, why you might like the Tex-Bone. It's unique and difficult to prepare for. There's not very many techniques. You don't need to be a college to run this. Of course, it is an advanced offense. We'll have a youth version of this in the coming months, but you don't have to have a million different techniques for your team. Spread formations are predictable alignments, as we mentioned. You get to see a lot of base defenses. So I'm not going to go through all of these because we went through them a lot in our first webinar, and in the Coach Tube materials. If you get into the Tex-Bone, you're really going to have a lot of time to talk about why you might want to get into the Tex-Bone. But if you're looking for something new, something unique, if you want to be the only team in your conference to be running an offense, the Tex-Bone's it. If you're looking for a way to maximize some of your athletic ability and take advantage of the defense in some variety of new ways, look at the Tex-Bone. So we think there's advantages in game planning. As I mentioned before, Flexbone defenses can be tough to predict. And again, we still run Flexbone. And when we bring Flexbone into our games, we know that we may not have an idea of what the defense is going to do, and we have to react. And of course, triple option plays are built to be rule-based so that your team can overcome that. But there is an advantage to be able to train your quarterback of here's where the dive key is going to be, here's who he's going to take, here's where your pitch key is going to be, and here's who he's going to take, and being able to train them through the week about what they're going to see. And of course, the Tex-Bone schemes, as we'll learn through webinars and through your Coach Tube studies, they're all rule-based. So on our first webinar, we talked about power option, and we're going to review it because it leads into tonight's topic. So we talked about running triple option off of power. And of course, tonight's main topic is going to be throwing passes off a triple option with power. We feel that power option is a foundational play of the Tex-Bone. One of the things that makes it really unique, as I said, we're the only option system out there that I've ever seen that has power as their foundational triple option play. We like the benefits of power. It's a horizontal and vertical displacement play, meaning you can stretch folks down the line of scrimmage with your down blocks, and you can push people downfield with double teams. So we like the fact that we can create horizontal and vertical displacement. Now, we focus more on horizontal displacement because we're trying to create space for the dive back to insert the line of scrimmage and to get the quarterback around the edge and into the alley to run triple option. We like power because it's good against every front. It's good against blitz. You don't have to check out a power. If you or your offensive line coach know power, then you know that it's a really, really versatile scheme. It's a rule-based play, which means players can pick up on it quickly. If defensive lines want to stunt and move and blitz, they can follow their rules, stay on their tracks, and they can be very successful with power. It's easily paired with play action and other run plays. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, not other run plays. We're going to get into how you can pair this power option run with play actions. It's going to be really neat to see the run play paired with the pass play. So here's our look at our power option. It's a traditional power scheme. On the front side, you have down blocks. On the back side, your guard pulls to the front side. That pulling guard creates an additional gap, which challenges the defense to have enough players to cover the extra gap. You'll see our dive player diving on the inside to the A gap. We go over that in the first webinar. And then you're going to see we have a pitch player coming around from the backside. This is not drawn up from Flexbone. This is drawn up from a single back pistol alignment with a pitch player. Now, the pitch player doesn't have to be a backside wing. He could be a front side wing. He could be a slot receiver. He could be motioning from a variety of angles. We just have this kind of as your stagnant example formation where the pitch player is a backside wing. When you learn the Tex-Bone, you learn that there's a lot more options for this. So we have an odd front drawn on top. We have an even front drawn on the bottom. And we won't get into everything with the base power. It's going to lead into our power option pass tonight. A key thing to continue to talk about is how power is good against blitz. And it's good against blitz when running triple option because if the dive key and the pitch key are both running a scheme or a game, you don't have to worry about it because you know where the dive key and the pitch key are going to be. Study this up in our first webinar for more details. But we really like power option against blitz because triple option neutralizes blitzes. So let's get into power option pass. Again, plenty more on the power option run play and how to run triple option with power in that first webinar and on the Coach Tube materials. But power protection and route combos is one of the staples of the Tex-Bone offense because it pairs with our foundational run play. It looks identical to power option runs. When we recruit offensive linemen, one of the things we talk to them about is, what do linemen like to do? 90% of them like to run block. They like to be heavier on their hand, like to get off the line of scrimmage, like to get into people, and they like to create movement. Well, when we pass the ball in the Tex-Bone, we're doing the same thing we do on our run play, and that's what we get to sell to our offensive linemen. And you can sell that whether it's middle school, high school, or college, is linemen like to run block. And even when we're passing, we're run blocking. So this play looks identical to power runs. And when we go through the film, we'll try to pause it, and we'll try to look and see, do we look the same run and pass all the way through that dive mesh till the ball gets to the quarterback's front foot? We need to be looking identical. So we're pulling linebackers out of position, we're pulling level 3 safeties out of position, and we're really dictating to the defense what open areas on the field we can take advantage of. The pulling guard now has the play side C gap, and I'm going to put some schematics up here in a minute, but it's a gap control scheme. Every gap is accounted for: A gap, B gap, C gap, front side, and back side. And the fullback we're going to assign to our play side linebacker. Otherwise, it's identical to the power run scheme. So here it is. It's drawn up. Let's just start looking at this top diagram. And you can see it essentially looks like power. In fact, as the fullback's coming through on his dive path through the A gap, and the quarterback's stepping downhill and meshing, and the guard's pulling, and we're down blocking, until the ball gets to the quarterback's front foot, sometimes longer depending on the route combos we have, this is going to look identical to a power run play. And that, of course, is by design. We're trying to eliminate linebackers, bring them up, eliminate the places that they would zone drop to, and create a lot of places to throw the ball. So rule-wise, we're the exact same. The play side tackle has the B gap. The play side guard has the A gap. The center back blocks first thing. Now, when the backside guard pulls, rather than looking for the play side linebacker, he now is the C gap blocker. And we said this is a gap protection scheme, meaning that all gaps are accounted for. The A gap, the B gap, and the C gap are all taken care of. On our backside, our tackle's man-to-man, and our fullback is going to work to the front side linebacker. Now, you may be looking and seeing that our backside linebacker is not accounted for. He's a scrape player. And so almost always when you run power, and you pull your backside guard, you're going to get a linebacker to scrape. And the linebacker scrapes because when you pull a guard to the front side, you've added a gap, and the defense must adjust. So if they were to run their backside linebacker through the backside B gap, they'd have a chance to get you. But if they're doing that, they're a man short in the run game. So it's not something we worry a lot about. You can also train your fullback to dual read those two inside linebackers if there are two inside linebacker threats. So the fullback and quarterback are the same. We detailed the dive mesh in the power run webinar. They're going to mesh the exact same. Our wing, if there's no blitz, it's going to come around, and he's going to be our flat route runner. So instead of working downhill to take the pitch, he's going to continue to stretch to the flat, and he's going to be a part of our pass combination when we get into looking at the pass combinations that we're going to run. So let's look at this against blitz. This is a 7-man protection because we have 5 linemen, we have our fullback, or our pistol back, and we also have a wing. Now, we may have an additional wing. We may have tight ends, but this is at minimum a 7-man protection. So if we see a blitz, here's what changes. The backside wing has to look pre-snap and identify if one of the backers on his side, against an odd front, there may be 2 to check. Against an even front, there may only be 1. If there's a pre-snap blitz, he's going to stay home and take that blitz. What we give up is we give up this pitch player working around and stretching to the flat. That's better. Giving that up is better than giving up a sack. So now we have, again, everything accounted for. We have our A gap, our B gap, and our C gap on our backside. We have our A gap, our B gap, and C gap on the front side. You'll notice a little bit of an adjustment by our play side tackle against blitz. When we diagnose blitz, we assign our play side tackle to stay man-to-man on the defensive end. That allows him to adjust for whichever gap he's going to work to, and allows our pulling guard to fit to the linebacker off of him. So our quarterback, when he identifies blitz, is going to make a hot call to the tackle to tell him to stay man-to-man, and it tells our pulling guard whichever gap he would show in, whether it's B or whether it's C, he's going to pick him up there. So our pulling guard knows he's ISO now on the linebacker because our pulling tackle or our play side tackle is going to be man-to-man. Of course, a lot more time is spent on this within the Tex-Bone materials, but that's the nuts and bolts of it. You basically are running power whether you're running the ball or you're passing the ball. The backside, the pulling guard from the backside is going to become a C-gap player, and you can use your backside wing as a 7th protector. Now remember, there's more options to this. If there's a tight end, you could have 8-man protection. If you're in Flexbone with 2 wings, you could even create a 9-man protection situation. So let's look at some short and some intermediate pass route combos. We'll talk about how we're going to read those. So we're going to talk about four things that are really our staples that we run all the time. We'll talk about what the combos are and then how we read them. The first one's a basic flood. And folks have been running flood routes from a lot of different ways. It can be waggles. It can be lots of different things. In fact, folks that run waggle are going to recognize this protection and say, that's my waggle protection. But when I run waggle, my backside guard tries to get some depth and log so the quarterback can get out of the pocket. And that's the only difference between a waggle and, for us, throwing these power option passes from inside the pocket. But if this is a waggle protection, which is a way to run a power protection. So when we get into our flood concept, it's a 3-level flood. And the way we're going to read this depends on what type of defense we're seeing. Your deep outside vertical is your deep coverage protector. He's a player that can get the ball, but against most coverages, he's going to be stretching the defense. Anytime there's a soft corner, a cover 3 corner, a cover 4 corner, his job is to take him out, pull him as deep as possible, and that's going to give us a 2-on-1 situation with your outside linebacker or curl to flat player. And that's going to be the read for your quarterback. Pre-snap, he can have an idea of whether he thinks he has a shot here, cover 3 or cover 4. If that corner's leaving, he's going to immediately find the outside linebacker. While he's going through his dive mesh, he's going to see the corner leave, find the outside linebacker, and if the outside linebacker hangs in the curl, where does the ball go? It's going to go to the flat. If he stretches to the flat, it's going to go to the curl. Now, what happens a lot of the time is this outside linebacker is responsible for the quarterback or the pitch in triple option, depending on the assignments that the defense has. So when he sees this presentation, he may be keying backfield, he may be keying tackle, but whatever he's keying, he's going to see run. So when we run flood off of our power option protection, a lot of times this curl to flat defender attacks the line of scrimmage, whether he's going to peel off and take the pitch player going to the flat, or if he's going to take the quarterback. So when he vacates, we have our choice. Of course, we want to push the ball downfield if possible. When we get yeah.
Hey, man, I love the flood concept, especially against cover 3. 2 questions. That backside guard that's pulling, is there any situations where the guard would not pull, like if they show an A or B gap blitz?
We're always going to pull him. And our extra backside protector is going to be this backside wing. And we're going to have him stay home to take the extra gap if we sense that there's going to be a blitz. Okay. Now, with that said, we do have a check where we just totally get out of play action, and we'll have a half man, half zone, or a full slide principle. But if we're going to stick with play action where we make it look like run, we're going to pull the guard no matter what. Got it.
Hey, second question. I'm assuming there's probably lots of different variations where you could tag those routes. Are you more concerned with those specific routes, or I'm guessing you're more concerned with getting players into those general areas, whatever route that is?
Yeah, that's right. In fact, you're going to see what we call our dig play, where it's just going to be a reversal of the same to get guys the same area. We're going to send him vertical, and we're going to send him on a dig, and we're attacking the same areas. So you are absolutely correct. We're attacking areas of the field, and by running play action off a triple, one of the things you can dictate is that this outside linebacker, your pitch key, is going to be triggering on the run. And that's going to open up a lot of curls. And you can get guys to the curls any way you want to. You can bring them on a drag. You can bring them on a dig. You can bring them on an outcut. We're going to try to attack this curl zone a lot. In fact, you can just send them on a vertical and have them sit down. And so you're exactly right, Rick. We're going to try to attack that area more so than just say we have to run this flood route. We'll have several ways to do that.
Awesome.
So again, on our flood, we talked about a soft corner. Rick said he loves it against cover 3. I do too. Love it against cover 4. If we get cover 2, now this corner out here, the flat player corner, is our outside linebacker. This puts this outside release vertical, we call it a mandatory outside release vertical, that puts it in play. Where if this corner triggers, now the ball can go to the hole first before reading the curl to the flat. So there's two different ways to look at it, the soft corner read and the hard corner read. Easy for the quarterbacks to determine if it's a hard corner because his eyes are going to be out here on the snap. The cousin to the flood is the quick flood. And with the quick flood, we are looking at just your very basic fade flat combo, stuff that quarterbacks and receivers have been running since Pee Wee. And this is a straight corner read. We do have our pitch player, if there's not a blitz coming, working around to the flat, but the ball's going to be gone probably before he gets there. He's there more as a safety valve or an outlet, a place to dump the ball if something goes wrong with our protection. So on our quick flood, we're going to read the corner. And if the corner clears, then we're going to have access to throw the ball to the flat to our short out route or our quick out route, as we like to call it. If the corner is a hard corner, a cover two corner, and he attacks the line of scrimmage, when he gets a triple option run key, now we can look to the hole. Now, a key to this, again, is, coaches, we are giving everyone on the defense a run key. Now, there's slow reacting defenders. If it's in cover 4, it could be the corners. If it's cover 2, it's going to be the safeties. But there's a lot of fast reacting linebackers and fast reacting defensive backs when they're trying to cover triple option. We're manipulating these fast reacting defenders, pulling them up when they read run, and we're throwing passes into areas that they've vacated. And the quick flood, it can be a drop back play in a lot of offenses. It's a staple of spread offenses. Folks run it to the wide side. They run it to the short side. For us, we like to pair it with power option and triple option off of power because we can get zones vacated by having the linebacker fill or having the corner fill. And so, again, if this outside linebacker is your pitch key and he fills, the curl's vacated. If the corner fills, your flat's vacated. Lots of ways to get the ball to the out route or to the vertical. And remember, you have your backside player working around. We haven't talked yet about the backside receiver, and we're going to get to him. We're also, coaches, going to look at these basic plays we're looking at tonight out of only one formation just for simplicity's sake. But remember, this 2-by-1 open spread formation that I'm drawing these diagrams out of is not the only way we run this. We run this out of a lot of different formations. It could be out of 2-by-2 open. It could be out of 3-by-1. We could have lots of different motions. Because remember, our pitch player can start in a variety of locations. He just doesn't have to be a wing. He doesn't have to motion pre-snap to get into position. But we're going to use this formation just as a teaching tool. And so far, we've looked at our flood and our quick flood. We mentioned this already when Rick and I were talking about, what are we trying to do? And it's attacking areas more so than saying we're going to run specific route keys. So here's our dig. Dig is a direct complement. It's the brother and sister play with our flood, and we're manipulating the same way. We have a vertical stretch that is your deep coverage protector or your deep coverage clearing tool. This is a play that we may choose more against cover 4, or we like to flood more against cover 3, but they're good against anything. So our dig concept attacks the same way. If we have a soft corner who's going to get pushed vertical by our dig route stemming to 10 yards, then breaking at 12, we're going to be able to isolate this outside linebacker. The outside linebacker has a run rule or run job. He is going to either take the quarterback or he's going to take the pitch player. And when he reads run, and again, he might be reading the tackle, he might be reading the backfield, but when he sees run and attacks the line of scrimmage, he's leaving the curl open. And our goal is to either hit this vertical as he runs through the curl zone or to hit the dig coming through. Now, if the curl does get covered, we do have our flat player. We have the backside wing in this case, who would be the pitch player in the run play, stretching all the way to the flat and getting the ball. Now, you can see that our player is going to stretch flat past the hash and then start to work vertical as he gets to the numbers. We want to throw the ball to him, pulling him downfield. We don't want to throw him to the sideline. Just as when we pitch the ball to him, we don't want him running to the sideline. We want him running through the pitch towards the end zone. We want to pass the ball to him with him running forward to the end zone rather than stretching him to the sideline. We read the dig the exact same way. If we have access to the curl zone via the dig, we're going to take it. If we don't have that, we're going to throw to the flat. And remember, we're going to get to the backside here in a minute, and we're going to watch film on all of these before we wrap up this webinar. The cousin to the dig is the quick dig. And on the quick dig, we're still going to isolate this curl flat player, but it's more of a two-man combo. We have the third route. We have the wing coming around and stretching to the flat, but the ball's probably going to be gone before we even get to him. So on our quick dig, our inside seam is going to work right through the curl zone. Now, he's not going to blow through trying to take the top off the defense. We're trying to throw the ball to him in about a 9 to 12 to 14 yard at the most window in that curl zone. So if the outside linebacker triggers for his run fit and he can hit him running through the curl, we're going to take it. If the curl's occupied, we have our quick dig in the flat, and then we have our outside receiver as our check down. We like this play just like we like the dig before it because it's very good against man-to-man. The quick flood can be good against man-to-man. In fact, all these can be good against man-to-man. And backing up to our flood diagram, our man-to-man beater is built in because we have an outbreaking route, which is good against man coverage. So we're good with this play. As we go to the quick flood, now it's our speed out. It's a good man-to-man route. We don't have to change anything if we're seeing a blitz. And remember, we're set up for 7-man protection. So we have all the gaps covered. We have the middle linebacker covered as well. Our dig, our in-cutting dig, that's our man-to-man beater on this play. We don't feel that we need to check out of it. We'll stay with our 7-man protection. The quarterback knows where he's going to go against straight man coverage, and then he's just playing catch. Same thing with this quick dig, the fourth combo that we looked at. We like it against zone. We like attacking this curl zone. But if we see man-to-man, the speed cut dig, which is essentially a flattened off slant, becomes a man-to-man beater and a man-to-man route. There's nothing that we have to change from a protection standpoint or from a route standpoint to stick with our power option run game if we do see blitz. Now let me call a quick timeout and explain we don't see a lot of blitz because blitzing triple option teams is very risky. It gets your dive keys in tough positions, you get your pitch keys in tough positions, and it also eliminates run support. When you're playing a flat cover zero, 2-level defense and you don't have a third level, that's a recipe for giving up big plays. We get blitzed very rarely, and in fact, we like to get blitzed. Triple option teams generally invite the blitz. They're ready for the blitz, and you're not going to see much of it. But if we do see it and you have a pass play called, you're not wasting timeouts. You're just going to rely on your 7-man protection. You're going to have your quarterback know where his man-to-man beater is, and you're going to work with it. You can also work this backside, which we're going to get to next, and you can have other man-to-man beaters built in. You can set your play up where you have a zone combo to your 2-man side or your 3-man side, depending on what formation you call. And if you have a single receiver side, an isolation side, you can have something built in there as well. So here we go. Let's look at some backside isolations as we just started to talk about that. And, of course, we keep the pass protection the same. And here's our route combos. And the way we like to do it at Southwestern, where of course the Tex-Bone is born, is we like to tag our backside routes. So if we have a situation where we feel like what we have on the front side might not be ideal, there's not a coverage really where we don't think that we're going to have a good option, we'll tag things on the backside. In general, when we tag stuff on the backside, it's not because we're fearful of the front side. It's because we think we're going to have one-on-one situations. When you run triple option to the field, your backside safety, especially against cover 4, he's taken off to get to the front side of the field to cover the run, to follow this pitch player and get across the field. That leaves you in one-on-one situations where you have a backside single receiver with just a corner. If there were an outside backer out here in the flat, he's going to read run, and he's going to start taking off as well, and that's going to put you in some true isolation situations. So here's a variety of things that we'll do. If we want to get the ball thrown quickly, we can call a quick slant, especially when there's not an outside linebacker by alignment. We don't have to worry about getting him to chase. If they're a 4-3 cover 2 team, for example, and you have stacked backers in the box, and there's just a corner playing soft man coverage, we like to throw that slant as an isolation. We can also throw just a quick stop route. If you're worried about a linebacker and you don't want to run a slant into the linebacker, you can run a stop route. You can run a quick out route. We'll call both of these. They're timing patterns. We're getting the ball thrown quick, and the ball's gone. We can run the same dig and the same out, things that we've run on the front side. You saw us talk about the dig, so we can run that intermediate dig, the intermediate out, and then we can go to some double moves. We can run a post. We can run a post corner, things that we really like. The post corner has been one of our favorite plays. It's a really good isolation, especially if you have a team that's playing cover 4 where the backside safety is going to take off, and you know you're one-on-one by yourself. You have time to run the post and then the corner, and you can continue to call these anything you want to call them. You can call them what we call them in the Tex-Bone. You can come up with different names, and you can keep what you're calling them now if you'd like to do that. But there's a multitude of backside tag route options that go with your power option passes. You got to have some downfield shots. Let's talk about what we like to do as far as calling pass plays to push the ball downfield. And we're still paired with the same power pass combinations. And remember, all these diagrams, coaches, I'm showing you from just one formation, 2x1 open formation, pistol backfield, and we have a stationary pitch player. Again, our pitch player could be anywhere. He could start here in motion. He could start in the slot and just work to where he's going to end up. He could motion down and then work back out. Lots of different places that we can align him. He could be more of an offset player in the backfield. Lots of different places that you can align him. We're using just one formation for simplicity. So this play is our double post combo. We like it in a variety of situations, and we like it against any coverage because this is a play where we do have one option on the front side and another option on the back side. The double post on the front side of the play, the two receiver side of the play, is designed to attack two high safety coverage, whether it's cover 2 or cover 4. If we see two safeties pre-snap, we're going to look to the double post side. And we're going to try to look to the deep post first and then the shallow post second. So let's imagine we have a cover 2 team and we have a half safety here lined up outside the hash about 12 yards pre-snap. When the ball snapped and the quarterback's going through his fake and he's pressing his option fake, he's going to have his eyes on the safety. If he does not get adequate depth to cover the deep post, of course, we're going to throw it over the top for a shot at the touchdown. If the half safety does get adequate depth and he takes the deep post, now we have our flatter post or our shorter post working right in the middle of the field at about 20 yards. And of course, we're trying to eliminate linebackers so that the middle of the field's open. And we're going to see some film on this. With cover 4, now it becomes a man-to-man situation. Remember, coaches, cover 4 is basically off man with zone underneath. When we get cover 4, we're going to treat this as a Jimmy Joe situation. Which of my Jimmies do I want to attack with your Joe? It might be our inside post we're going to throw, maybe the outside post we're going to throw, but we're going to a lot of times going to pre-snap that and have an idea. In a lot of cases, our slot receiver against another team safety is going to be a really good matchup for us. So against cover 4, that might be where we want to look. But anytime it's two safeties pre-snap, that's where we're going to look. If we get one safety, the double post combo is not as good because you're looking at a cover 3 type thing or a cover 1. If it's cover 1, you've got man with help over the top. You want to look away from that. If it's cover 3, now the corner is going to carry the deep post. You have a free safety sit in the middle field for the middle post. That's where on the backside we have our post corner built in. Anytime we see a one safety defense or a zero safety defense, we know that we have this double move built into the backside. So pre-snap, the quarterback's going to know where he's going to go. Two safeties, double post side. One safety, I'm going to go to the post corner side. If there's no blitz, I have the check down built in with my backside wing working around over the top and getting over to the flat. So this is an example of a play that we call when we want to push the ball downfield. We're going to make a downfield throw anytime we possibly can to our outside deep post, to our middle post attacking the middle of the field, or to our backside post corner. We like the double post play. I mentioned some additional backfield actions. And before we transition over and we start to look at some of this game film, let's just look at a few of the backfield actions that we discuss in the Tex-Bone. So here we have a 2x2 open formation. And of course, we run things out of straight 2x2 open. But to get into the formation that we had our diagrams on of, we're going to motion our player down to a wing position. And then at the snap of the football, he can be on the move, working to the flat. So we can start in 2x2 open. We mentioned an advantage of starting off in spread formations and being in spread formations is you're going to get predictable defenses. When you get trade tape, you're going to see how a defense aligns to 2x2 open, to 3x1 open, to 2x2 tight, to all these different spread formations. What you're not going to get is you're not going to get how they align to flexbone, whether it's split flexbone or double tight flexbone. You're not going to be able to see how they align to a lot of the formations that traditional option teams are going to run. That's where running a variety of spread formations can be to your advantage. Here's another way to get to the same plays. It's by having the wing on the same side as a power option run. So we're still in 2x1 open. We've moved our wing to the strong side of the field. And now we're going to fake the same thing, fake our power option run, but rather than having our wing on the back side, he's on the front side. He's going to work the same path as if he's getting into pitch relationship, but he's going to continue and work flat out to his pass responsibility. Any one of the pass plays that we called can be run out of any of the formations we talked about. We can run it from 2x2 open with motion. We can run it from 2x1. You may call this 3x1. And of course, we could go true 3x1 open, put 2 slot receivers here, and he can be our pitch player from that spot at the snap. He can also be our flat stretching wide receiver from that position as well. All right, let's move. Okay, coaches, here we are. We're going to look at one clip of all the pass combos that we looked at, maybe 2, but we're going to at least see one clip of everything we talked about. Things to keep note of is we want this to look like run. On this play, our outside linebacker gets a little bit tight, and our quarterback gives our tackle his blitz call, where he's going to have him stay man-to-man on the defensive end. Otherwise, we're running power. We're down blocking. We're pulling to the front side. And by doing this, you're going to see these linebackers react to run, and they're going to attack the line of scrimmage. We've got a cover 4 look pre-snap. They end up rolling into cover 2. And if our quarterback had seen the outside vertical, it's probably a touchdown. But pre-snap, he thought it was cover 4. And what he sees is the curl player is attacking the line of scrimmage. And that's opening up this curl zone, and that's where he's going to throw the football. If he didn't like that curl zone, he could work the ball to the flat. So this is an example of our flood play. Good job by the defense disguising cover 2. Good job by the quarterback of taking advantage of the open curl. So as you watch this from behind again, watch how the defense and the linebackers react to run. 13's going to scrape over the top when the guard pulls. The outside linebacker pitch key for us is off the screen, but he's going to fill. And we're doing a pretty good job of making this look like a run. In fact, right till here, all the way through the dive phase, this looks like a run play. In fact, we're getting pretty good movement on their nose tackle, where if we were given the dive and pulling our guard upfield, we had some room. So I would call this pretty good play action and a very nicely thrown ball to attack the curl zone. Now we're going to look at the quick flood. So we saw our full flood. Now in our quick flood, we're just going to read the corner. As we talked about looking at the diagrams, this is just your fade flat that teams have been running since Pee Wee. Spread play, all kinds of systems run the fade flat play. Corner gets depth, the flat's exposed, and we're going to take the throw. If the corner had come off, then we would get the ball thrown to our vertical in the seam. You can see we're running the same formation that we looked at our diagrams out of, which is why I chose these plays, is it's plays out of the exact formation that we taught it out of. And we're trying to get a lot of run movement. We have our same adjustment. We kept our tackle man on. We don't always do that, I promise, but our quarterback's making that decision to keep him man on. We're looking to get real heavy down blocks. And again, watch what the linebackers do. Watch these the inside linebackers. They're eliminated from coverage. And that's a big benefit when throwing play action. As you watch it quickly from behind, 47 and 9. This is a pass play, but they think it's a run. They're out of there. One's filling, one's scraping. And we talked about on our diagrams, we don't always account for this backside linebacker because when the guard pulls, he has to scrape. And so he blocks himself by scraping over the top. Fade flat again. They try to jump into cover 2. This is the same team. Our quarterback sees it. When the corner comes off to the flat, our quarterback's going to throw it into the hole. Now, of course, that's a long throw, and he's a college senior. He's an option quarterback, so he doesn't have NFL arm strength, but he's got an adequate arm to get the ball out there. Watch again how linebackers are eliminated. These linebackers close to the line of scrimmage are seeing run, and they're attacking the line of scrimmage versus covering passes. Our linemen are doing a really good job of making everything look like it's the run play to get the ball thrown down the sideline. Now we've got our dig play. So we're going to attack the curl again, and we're going to send this player through the curl zone, and if he's really uncovered, we can throw it to him here. His primary job is to control the deep coverage, to clear it out for our 10 to 12-yard dig. Everything should look like a run through the point of attack of the dive. And we've got linebackers filling again. And that's good for us. In fact, this might be a blitz. It is a blitz and our guard's wrong. Our guard should be working off to the edge. So our pulling guard needs to be working to the outside. And we talked about our quarterback being able to identify this and make the call to put our tackle man-to-man. Here he makes the call, and the guard misses it. So the guard should be picking up this backer off the edge. Just refer back to the diagrams that we talked about for further explanation on this. But again, the curl's open. They're rolling to cover 3. The rolling defender overrolls, and it leaves the seam open on our dig play. And if the quarterback needed to, of course, he's got his backside wing. He did not have a blitz threat working around that he can throw the ball to. Here's our dig play again. It's against man coverage. We are not going to get blitzed. We are playing cover 1. We have a single high safety team, and you can see that these guys are playing man coverage across the board. So they're playing a 6-man box with 4 guys in man-to-man coverage. We don't need to get out of this because our man-to-man beater is on the outside. It's our dig. So our quarterback's going to stick with it. He's going to work his dig throw, and away we go. Now, you notice the protection, coaches, is off of belly. So this is our belly protection. We call it G-load, but you can run it with our power protection. I threw this in here because it's an example of working against man-to-man with the same passes that we have. It doesn't matter to us whether we're getting blitzed, whether we're playing man, whether they're playing zone. We've got that dig built in as a man-to-man beater. Here's our quick dig. Now they're in cover 0, and they are going to blitz us. And we stay with our power protection. We tell the tackle to stay man on the end. We assign the fullback to the inside blitzing linebacker. And our pulling guard should have the edge blitzing linebacker. Now, the guard doesn't get out to where he's supposed to be. We've seen 2 clips of our guard making a mistake against blitz. So I guess we need to work on that a little bit more. But our man-to-man beaters are built in. So our quick dig is the man beater. Our inside slot's going to run off and clear out some room for him. And we have what turns into essentially a slant or a quick dig on the outside. And let me talk about from behind, coaches, this blitz protection. So they're in a straight cover 0 defense. There's no level 3 defenders at all. They're all walked down on the same level. Their invert linebacker is showing edge blitz. Our quarterback sees this. He puts our tackle man-to-man, which tells our guard to pull and look for the edge. And our fullback off his dive fake looks for the inside. So they're going to blitz 4 to the front side, and we're going to have it picked up. Now, we do make a mistake, but the quarterback gets the ball thrown before he can get there. So we need to be a little bit better at our blitz pickup, but schematically, it's all there. We don't need to make any changes. Now we're going to look at a double move. We didn't talk about this one, but it's an inside corner post. We can eliminate linebackers. And all I want to talk about in this, coach, is, again, look at the linebackers that are eliminated. Everyone's seeing run. Everyone's working upfield. And now we're one-on-one with the safety. Let's look at some, I think this will be our double post play. So you have 2 posts on the front side and the back side. I'm sorry, it's another double move on the inside. Corner slot receivers against safeties is a good matchup. I can't emphasize enough, watch the linebackers. They're eliminated. There's no underneath coverage to worry about. It's him against him, and that was a matchup that we liked. Making everything look the same at the line of scrimmage. Let's see how we did. We're getting off the football. We're using our blitz adjustment again, so we're staying man-to-man with our tackle. But inside, we're in a run demeanor, and our quarterback and fullback are meshing. It looks just like it could be a dive. Our quarterback presses it, really to sell it. And we get the ball thrown to the open middle of the field. Okay, now we've got our double post combo. It's cover 4, so we talked about looking at who we like better. In this case, we liked our slot receiver against their safety, and that's where we're going to throw it. If it was single high, we'd have our post corner on the backside. We've thrown a lot of these in the same game. You can see how their linebackers are acting a little bit slower to the run, which benefits our option. So these 2 things work hand in hand. The better our play action game is, the better our run game is going to be. When we call this double post play, we're going to push the ball downfield, whether it's to the outside post, the inside post, or the backside post corner.
Coach Austin, that's awesome. Hey, thanks a lot. It's really cool that you're so willing to share this game with all the future generations of coaches. Hey, the question I had though, this talk was basically the play action pass off of your power game. Could somebody take some of your concepts and marry them off of other run type of play action fakes?
Oh, no doubt. We saw the one clip where we ran what we call G-load, what traditionalists call belly or down. You can run it with your belly fake. We run it off of that. We run all these combinations off of speed option. We run them off of power read. These are plays that we can pair with anything. You could pair them with zone. You could pair them with counter tray. You could run these off of any play action protection that you have. Awesome.
So, hey, coaches, Coach Austin has spent pretty much all of last summer, literally hundreds of hours, preparing all this information, for coaches who want to run this. As you can see here, their courses are available in CoachTube. I think there's about 17 courses. There's a book that we're not quite done with yet that's going to be up here. And, in part of the sharing, you can see some of the courses we intentionally made them free, and one course there for $5. We're not really out to make money. Nobody's going to Hawaii or buying an island off this. We just want to compensate Coach for his time as he's trying to give back to this game of football. So if you're interested in any of this, just go to CoachTube and you could either search Joe Austin or search Tex-Bone, and you're looking for this page right here to get all this stuff. Hey, Coach, I know you're busy. I know you got to run off to an athletic director meeting. I really appreciate your time. It's always fun to do a webinar with you. We do these the third Monday of every month.
That's right. Thank you, Rick.
All right. See you later. All right. I'm going to stop recording.